From the great beyond, it's the Security Weekly News Low-Res Edition. That's right, we're working with almost no bandwidth, no resolution, and we're just going to see what we can do. Think about it like you're on the internet in 1995. So ASCII 2 porn only. Anyway, I'm Doug White, and it is episode 437 of the Security Weekly News, and it is Friday the 13th. In December of 2024. Welcome to the show. We got Nudity, Krispy Kreme, Cleo, AIAPIs, non-human identities, North Korea, Jersey drones, Josh Marpet, and more on this edition of the Security Weekly News.
This is a Security Weekly production for security professionals by security professionals. Please visit securityweekly.com/subscribe to subscribe to all the shows on our network.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
It's the show that keeps you up to date on the latest security news twice a week. Your trusted source for accurate security information and expert analysis. It's time for the Security Weekly News. If your organization is ready to enhance cyber resilience, we have important insights for you. The Level Blue Futures Report 2024 sheds light on how rapid computing changes affect IT visibility. Our research reveals that while IT leaders see positive outcomes, 85% acknowledge increased risk. In this report, we identify the barriers to cyber resilience, the challenges impacting cybersecurity, and the business context that reveal operational issues. You'll also discover what's on the horizon and 5 essential steps for prioritizing cyber resilience. Get your complimentary copy of this crucial research today. Visit securityweekly.com/levelblue. Cybersecurity simplified. ThreatLocker implements a least privileged approach to cybersecurity, blocking every executable unless specifically authorized by your team. This methodology mitigates ransomware, supply chain attacks, zero-day exploits, and ensures 24/7, 365.25 protection for your organization. To learn more about how ThreatLocker can help prevent known and unknown threats in your digital environment, safeguard your data and operations from threat actors, and align your organization with respected compliance frameworks, visit securityweekly.com/threatlocker. All right, from the not really connected to the internet island of Elba, it's the Security Weekly News. I'm Doug White. Hit that like and subscribe button and leave a comment, or we will force you to talk to a call center tech who will ask you to reboot your router for all eternity. Dante needs to add some new levels, really. I mean, seriously, come on. Krispy Kreme. I can literally smell those things. When I was in high school, we were forced to sell these things. And people subscribe to the service to have these like piles of donuts delivered to their offices every week. And then we had to go out and deliver them. My car, and it was a convertible. I bet it still smells like Pall Mall cigarettes and Krispy Kreme donuts, amongst other things. I wouldn't sniff my car. But regardless of that, after a while, even the people who ordered them would just be like, no, just keep them, please. Just keep them. We can't eat anymore. And old Gil had a stroke yesterday and nobody wants them. Okay. I mean, they really are delicious, but after a while, yeah. But someone, and I would look hard at some of those people I delivered dozens of boxes of these things to, attacked Krispy Kreme. Yeah. In an SEC filing, Krispy Kreme advised that they had detected unauthorized activity on a portion of their IT network. Now, they did go ahead and say, before everybody panics and there's a global outrage and pitchforks and torches and all that stuff, they said stores globally are open and you can order in person, but you are not going to be able to order online. So if you're having DoorDash bring you 6 dozen donuts for, whatever you were going to do with them. But digital orders do represent about 15.5% of their annual sales. Now, no one so far has taken responsibility for the attack, and there's not many details available about what the attack actually involved, but their stock price dropped 2% when they reported that they expect a reasonable financial impact from the revenue lost on digital sales. I can literally still smell those things. They are good, though. Not as good as when I was a kid, though. When I was a kid, they had a Krispy Kreme factory not that far from where we lived, and they fried them on these like belts, and they went into this giant vat of bubbling lard. Just like my mother used to make at home, really. But they're still good, though. I mean, just don't try and order them online. Well, Cleo patched a 0-day in Lexicom, VL Transfer, and Harmony, which are being actively exploited in data theft attacks. Now, they put out a patch back in October that focused on a pre-auth remote code execution vulnerability in their managed file transfer software. And they had this recommendation, upgrade immediately. It was, so tends to maybe try to get you to do that, you think. Well, Huntress spotted evidence of attacks targeting fully patched Cleo software on the 3rd of December. So this was followed by more increases in those attacks on the 8th of December. And so they found a new issue which would allow attackers to import and execute arbitrary bash and PowerShell command. Oh my God. And they were basically exploiting the default auto run settings. Yeah, good old default auto run. That's always fun. But Shodan said there were currently, according to them, 421 Cleo servers worldwide, with 327 of those in the United States. But Yutaka Sejiyama found 743 Cleo servers online, with 379 running Harmony, 124 running VL Traders, and 240 running Lexicom. So they're out there. So the recommendation currently is to move any internet-exposed Cleo systems behind a firewall until a new patch is released. But then they released an update and said, yes, there's a patch. So that was yesterday. And the company is now urging users to please update immediately to version 5.8.0.24 as soon as possible. If anybody wants to use that little, I can record that for you, that update immediately. You can build it into your software so it says that over and over again until you do it. It might be a good product, actually, update immediately. Anyway, they also advise that if you can't patch like today, like immediately, then, disable auto run under system options and clear out the auto run directory that you already have. They said this won't prevent attacks, but it can make them a lot less likely to succeed. The malware is called Malicious, and it basically transfers all kinds of files off of Windows machines primarily, even though it has a Linux feature to it as well. Huntress said they'd found at least 10 companies that have been compromised, but they were likely other victims. Sophos said they'd found indicators of compromise on over 50 Cleo hosts. So they are coming at you if you have Cleo hosts. So really, update immediately. All right. AI-enhanced cyber attacks are the number one concern for API defenders, according to a survey from Kong this week. The survey asked 700 IT leaders, and 32% of the respondents ranked AI-enhanced attacks as the biggest API security threat to their organizations. Unauthorized access and breach was at 26%, and insufficient encryption and data protection was at 14%. Now, they didn't indicate in this article what the response rate was. Now, maybe they meant 700 responders. I don't know. But they didn't provide any of those good old academic tests of significance, just that 700 people were asked. And I'm not saying that their study's invalid. I just don't like it when they don't give the details. So, I ask 700 people if they like Krispy Kreme donuts, and 3 people respond, and 2 of them say, I love Krispy Kreme, and 1 says, no, I like tofu ice cream. Okay, I can then say that, I surveyed 700 people and 2/3 of the respondents prefer Krispy Kreme to tofu ice cream. Yeah, that doesn't make it significant difference in stats. In fact, it's not significantly different from 0 based on the t-test. And yes, I did a t-test, and sure, it wasn't significant with my made-up sample size of 3. Look, I know I stabbed him, officer, but he said it was significant, even when it wasn't significant. You've probably been in that academic no, you probably haven't. But, what are you in for? I stabbed a guy for using bad assumptions in statistics. And you, my friend? Oh, I killed and ate a family of 4. Yeah, I guess we're roomies for life then. So I don't know. What do you think about Mersenne primes? Great way to pass the time, right? We could work them out on the wall here, with a shank. Oh, was that a shank? I always wondered what those look like in person. Sorry, did I say all that out loud? Damn you, Sheila. Anyway, 92% of the participants said that their organizations were taking measures to combat AI-enhanced attacks, so that's good. And 25% of them said they've already encountered AI-enhanced security threats related to APIs or large language models. API security was recognized as the top priority by 88% of the leaders, and 97% considered it to be of greater or equal importance to other areas like network and endpoint security. 40% said they were not sure whether their organization's current security investments were sufficient to address these issues, and 74% expressed being extremely or very concerned about AI-enhanced cyber attacks. Another study called the Kong API Security Perspectives 2025 revealed that the cost of API incidents over the past 12 months, with 47% of the respondents saying that recent incidents cost their organizations more than $500,000. 32% said that the incident they experienced in the last year was severe. The most common defense was API monitoring and anomaly detection tools, with 63% of the respondents saying that that was their approach. Anyway, it's an interesting study, and it seems more valid than me standing out there by the subway station on 96th Street and throwing Krispy Kreme donuts at people, crying and saying, he put mustard on it. He put mustard on. I don't know what I was doing this morning. See, this is why I can't have nice things. I was having this internet outage. It made me kind of weird, or ish. I'm not sure. The growth of non-human identities. Dun, dun, dun. Now, that's creepy. Whether you're walking through the forest at night and you start thinking about non-human identities. I mean, this is now a thing, right? Machine identities now outnumber humans in the digital world, according to this article. I think we're standing on the edge of this big, weird pit, and that we humans may struggle to understand it all. You know, I really don't know, especially after talking to bots all morning. Organizations may well use their NIA or their NHI components as fire and forget. I mean, that's been my experience, is they set something up and they turn it loose. It's a reliable tool, when in reality, these NHIs may have a multitude of problems. I mean, have you even read iRobot? I bet if they made an HBO series with a lot of nudity in it, you'd watch it, right? But you filthy animals. But anyway, I digress. So say you make a chat bot named Mr. Frundles, and Mr. Frundles kind of sucks. So, you know, it tells a customer to bite the wax tadpole, gives the finger to the VP of marketing in the elevator, and then pukes on the senior VP of resource management at the holiday party. Note, the senior VP of resource management was passed out on the president's billiard table at the time. That might have been me, actually. But Mr. Frundle's not good. So what do you do with these things? They don't want to shut it down because maybe it might be useful for something. They route people that are calling with complaints to it. The article calls them orphans, which is even creepier, right? It's sort of like Oliver Twist in the digital age. Yeah. So say Mr. Frundles gets taken out of service, but is left sitting in the network, and you can access Mr. Frundles' brain with the default hard-coded password, happy. Yeah, that's a pretty big threat. And I mean, a lot of this seems to track back to the API threats, and maybe Mr. Frundles was the one that modded itself with a library so that it could speak Finnish, since it was going there in the summer, and it turns out the library was filled with virtual brainworms, and now Mr. Frundles is the head of the NHS. Okay, I got to stop drinking in the morning. But the point of the article, I mean, is you need to plan to deal with these things as you retire them, as you take them out of service. Because, you know, just like an old PDP-11 sitting in the basement that's still running in maintenance mode, Mr. Frundles may have their eyes turned from blue to red down in some dusty lab, and then thing comes slithering up through the air shaft in the middle of the night in a blaze of glory, and or you know, just compromises your whole network, because who knows why these things do what they do. You probably should read this and think about it and be creeped out, and it'll make your day even worse than it already was. Really. Well, we've talked about fake remote workers and how you best be vetting beyond just asking, you know, can you provide the 3 names of people that can attest to you being a fine citizen? I have to fill those out all the time, you know, like, please list the name. I'm like, okay, I'll list Bert, Ernie, and Carl. None of them are real, and all their numbers ring here at my house. But, you know, so if you even bothered to call and go, is Doug White a good, fine, upstanding citizen? Like, of course he is. Oh, my God, I've known him for 20 years. But, I mean, North Korea works this really well. And they've earned now, according to this report, $88 million over the last 6 years, according to the Department of Justice. I don't know how they measured that. Did they do a survey like, hi, are you a North Korean worker? Could you tell us how much money you made last year? Why, thank you, sir. We're going to send you a gift card for $5. But some of the workers even do the work. I mean, they don't just, you know, get signed in and then screw you. They literally work. And, you know, and then they hand their paychecks over to dear leader. Now, others, of course, steal everything that's not nailed down, just like real workers. But an announcement yesterday, along with a federal indictment, named 2 firms as employers of North Korean scam workers, and the names of 14 individuals who they say faked their way into jobs. The businesses aren't in North Korea, I mean, which makes a lot of sense, because you really wouldn't, you know, want to say, if we're a North Korean recruiting service. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't play very well on late night television. But the 2 companies are named Yangbian Silver Star and Volasys Silver Star, and are located in China and Russia, respectively. Also not places I would tend to hire remote workers from, but that's just me. The indictment says that they had around 130 techs who were called IT warriors, and they had a goal of earning $10,000 every month each. Well, that's pretty good. Can I get in on this? I mean, maybe I could be a legitimate remote worker if they're paying that kind of money, but they didn't quite make it. So, they got 88 million. So if, you could do the math and figure out they should have earned about 96 million, but they only made 88. Uh-oh. And the IT workers who fell short are probably now called a food source at a pig farm, but they got close. I mean, the company had people in the US also who bought laptops, received laptops, and installed software that allowed the relay of the connection. So, hey, are you sitting in an apartment somewhere in Nashville and you'd like to set up a whole bunch of laptops that relay signals from Korea to you to some company in the US? Yeah, that kind of stuff. But many fake businesses were created in the US that actually have websites like Eden Programming Solutions, Purplish Tech, Culture Box, NextNet, Illusion Software, Babybox Tech, Cubix Tech, and Helix. All were fake companies that were just relaying North Koreans into your company. The U.S. State Department is offering $5 million as a reward for info on people engaged in these schemes, and they have wanted posters for the names of the 14 people they actually named in the indictment. So be careful who you hire and maybe review your vetting process again. I know I keep saying that, but you might really want to. I mean, I bet I could get a bunch of letters written this afternoon that say I'm a great person and I would never, ever barf on the president of the company's billiard table. And I might make a great Sunday school teacher. Yeah, probably like in the next 15 minutes. Well, there's been a lot of reports of mystery drones claiming aren't all drones a mystery. They're claiming that objects the size of SUVs, that's utes to our friends in Australia, but the size of SUVs, rats the size of squirrels, have been spotted flying over parts of the northeastern United States and resulted in the FBI issuing statements telling the public not to panic. Nothing makes me panic more than the Department of Defense or the Department of Justice going, now don't panic, there's no cause for alarm. We'll be getting on these planes to fly to another country right now. But the FAA has currently banned temporary drone flights in and around President-elect Donald Trump's golf club and other military and manufacturing facilities in New Jersey. So be sure and review your charts if you're a pilot. Now, I would tell you, it's Jersey. Come on. People have been seeing lights in the skies of Jersey for a long time, but they have videos this time, which is a lot better than your Uncle Kyle's story about those angels that took him up into the sky after he drank a quart of wild turkey and had 2 Quaaludes. But there's a lot of video weird looking things in the sky. That doesn't necessarily mean that, it's aliens or something. Posts on Blue Sky have been reporting weird objects all over the place, including New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania, with people saying, what the hell is that? Hand me another beer. Have you got any more of that Mickey's Big Mouth? But officials advise reporting strange things to the FBI. I bet that's going to be fun. Or uploading them to tips.fbi.gov. I would really hate to be the person writing hurt on that mess. Yeah, I saw something. It came down out the sky. That's why I was driving under the influence. I actually saw that case in court once. I really doubt it's aliens. And it's probably not aliens that want to play golf with Donald Trump. It's probably drones. I mean, that's what they're calling it, right? It could be AI Terminator drones from another dimension, hell-bent on perversion, or it could be something else, but we don't know yet. Keep informed. I don't know how you feel about this, but this story basically said that Delta and United, among 15 other airlines, are soon going to allow you to assign Apple AirTags to your bags and share that with them. So they will actually know where your bags are instead of the current system, where you're going, is that my bag? I was literally on a plane once, and this woman's looking out the window going, that's my luggage. It just exploded. All my stuff is blowing down the runway, and you see this guy like sort of fold it up and toss it back on the belt, and, there's like clothes blowing everywhere. And an iOS update is coming out. I don't think it said when, but they announced it on Monday, that said that they will let you share the item location with the airline. Now, I'm not sure why airlines can't keep up with your bags. They've got all these barcodes and things on them, but they can't. I mean, I remember when my bag with my nice suit in it got shipped to the Philippines instead of Honolulu, and I had to do a job interview in a T-shirt I bought from a street vendor and a pair of flip-flops I bought from a street vendor that turned out to say something offensive in Tagalog. So maybe this will help with that. Or at least I'll know my bag's in the Philippines when I'm getting that, we care about you. Da, da, da. Oh, I better not get sued. we care about you so much that we're going to put you on hold for 4 hours and 35 minutes before we can tell you, yeah, we don't actually know where it is, but we're looking for it. We'll let you know. Just hang in there. The rollout is with 15 airlines globally. So now the airline and you can see your bag at a condo in Brooklyn instead of at Newark Airport. I mean, if you have an AirTag in your bag, you may well know more than the airline currently, according to this article. I saw one where this person's bag was stolen by someone that worked for the airline, and then they tracked the person tracked the bag down to literally to the thief's house and went over there. And not the smartest move, but the airline kept telling them they had no idea where their bag was, and they're going, "I can tell you where it is. It's at 454 Park Street." And the guy's name is Steve, and right now he's smoking weed and eating cheesy poofs. And the airline's going, "Oh, that's great. Thanks a lot. We'll keep that in mind." I mean, I've seen bags lost for weeks. My friend lost his bag for 3 weeks and ended up spending his whole trip without his bags. And then his bags actually arrived back at his house after he did, which was interesting. But look, don't put valuables in your checked bags. Assume your bags will be lost. And an AirTag might work, but I don't know how you feel about that. Well, according to reports, Aaron Leyland is out chasing after Vesper Lind in a tux, I think. So Josh Marpet came today to be even sexier and is going to fill in for Aaron. Hi, Josh.
Hey, Doug. How are you today, sir?
Obviously wound up.
A teensy bit. Yeah. So, by the way, I have friends sending me videos of those drones.
Yeah?
Yeah. I have friends in New Jersey and New York sending me videos that they're taking of the drones
Yeah,
flying over their
I saw
house.
some. They were weird.
And there's some that are hovering over Midtown Manhattan and have been for hours, which I thought was beyond the battery capability of most of these things. But what do I know?
They're just trying to get tickets to something.
Well, it's either that or it's the lizard people coming down and starting to take control. Okay, so
if lizard people come down to Manhattan, I mean, all that's going to happen is they're going to get mugged in about 5 minutes, and then end up having their hotel kick them out because they didn't have the right paperwork, and there will be lizard people standing around Times Square going, "Hey, can you help me, buddy? I'm just trying to get back to Alderaan. Really, that's all I need. I need $15, and I can get the next bus out of the Port Authority back to Alderaan." Yeah.
no comment. So let me talk about something a little more down to earth. And I'm going to preface this by saying that the article is fascinating and I see a lot of problems. And so I'm going to phrase this as my opinion because it is my opinion. And that way I don't think you can hold me legally liable. I'm not certain, but I hope so. So the idea here is that Lloyd's of London has a new cyber insurance consortium. So, which is a big word for a lot of companies trying to work together to screw you. But anyway, they're working with the High Trust Institute, and they're saying that if you get insurance through this consortium, cyber insurance to be specific, you can get as much as a 25% discount and a single page of exclusions if you're High Trust certified, which is okay. That's interesting. And I like the idea of being certified at something gets you an insurance discount. Totally cool. But there's problems here. My problem with this is really twofold, although I may think of some as I go along. The big problem I have is that Lloyd's of London is the one that put out the verbiage, I don't know, a year ago, that basically said, if you have a cyber incident, we're going to call it a force majeure incident. We're going to call it cyber warfare, and we're going to deny it because of the force majeure clause in insurance. So in other words, as I understand it, it was a blanket statement that if you have a cyber incursion from anywhere, as long as it's outside your country, the continental U.S. in this case, sorry, that's cyber warfare and we won't pay. And they literally put out, I think it was 3 paragraphs of verbiage that any insurer was able to use and just drop in their policies and then go, sorry, we're not going to pay you that cyber incident that premium, even though you bought it. Oops. Second problem is that High Trust states that the reason that it's good that you're using High Trust is because they can use an API to tell you how your High Trust certification is, except that High Trust certification is a point-in-time assessment. And as we understand with red teaming exercises and pen tests, point-in-time assessments are valid until about 5 minutes after the pen testers leave. And in this case, it's valid until 5 minutes after the compliance assessors leave. Point-in-time assessments are old. They are not worth your damn time anymore. So unless the High Trust Institute is going to continuous compliance, in which case I would feel a lot better about it, and I would honestly respect them a lot more. Well, okay, maybe not. I have a problem. It's a personal problem with the High Trust Institute, the fact that you're not allowed to download the standard unless you're the company going to go through it, or unless you pay them $30,000 to say, I can help prep companies with this. I'm not even allowed to prep them, much less certify them, unless I pay the High Trust Institute a hell of a lot of money. That's not the way we do things. The standard is open, then the certification costs. That's the way it works. Okay? They seem to think they can re-engineer the market. And, I'm happy to talk to them. If one of them wants to come on the show, we could even have a guest segment. I'd be cool with that. All right? But here's the thing. My problem is that you've got Lloyd's of London, who, admittedly, one of the oldest insurance companies in the world. They actually insured sailing ships back in the day, and the cargo's on those. So that's pretty hot. That's amazing stuff. They have the books showing from hundreds of years ago what they insured ships for. They have some incredibly famous people that signed those books and signed those policies. That's neat. That's cool. That's wonderful. But if you put out cyber insurance policies that I have no actual way of collecting on, yeah, no, that's not cool. That's not a good idea. And then when you have working with the High Trust Institute, where it's a point-in-time compliance, I don't care if it's API-based. If the API results are from 8 months ago, they've been invalid for 7.95 months. Okay? And that's just the way it works. It makes me uncomfortable discussing this as an advantage for companies, when in reality, I only see it as a disadvantage. And your single-page exclusions, if you've got the cyber warfare clauses that Lloyd's wrote, I think a year or two ago, I'm not going to like it. And this is why I see more and more companies going to self-insured models. They throw X amount of money, which is their average amount of money that they'll handle for a cyber breach or significant cyber incident. They throw it in a bank account. They go, we're self-insured. We're done. Okay? If you have more of that, the cyber insurance market is just going to disappear. And okay, that might be fine, but that's not a good thing for smaller companies. It's useful for small companies to be able to go to Tech Insurance or Hiscox or Prudential or the Travelers and say, I need a cyber insurance policy for a couple of $1 million. I can afford to pay a few $100s a month. And they go, yeah, we can handle that. Here, list of exclusions, but at least they're honest exclusions. And for these things you're covered, for these you're not. Is that okay? Yeah. Because if you need to get cheap insurance, well, there's ways you can get it. Take out the ransomware provision, do your backups to immutable storage to take away the ransomware threat. There's all sorts of ways you can do that. There's an advantage to have cyber insurance companies around. Let me be blunt. I'm not dissing cyber insurance as an industry. I'm saying there's an advantage to having cyber insurance companies around. But let's do it honestly. This kind of advertising makes it seem all you have to do is get High Trust certified and you can get cheap cyber insurance from the best company in the world. Yeah, all you have to do is spend $50,000 to $100,000 to get certified, and then you can get 25% off from cyber insurance from a company that doesn't want to give you the money anyway. It gets me uncomfortable. Well, like I said, that's my opinion, but that's the way it is. Thank you. Doug?
Sounds like the healthcare industry.
Really close.
Yeah, it's like we're not going to pay for this and this and this and this, and it's like we've got a doctor here saying this would work, and they're like, oh yeah, we don't recognize that doctor. You'll have to use this other doctor over here, Dr. Nick, who's going, no, it's bad. And it's like, wait, all these other doctors said this was needed, and yeah, okay, well, we shouldn't get started on that, right? That's just like too soon. But thank you, Josh. AT&T and Verizon are reportedly not notifying people about the Chinese records hack, even if their records were indeed lost to Salt Typhoon. NBC reported that the vast majority of people whose call records were stolen have not been notified, and there is no indication that they will be notified in the future. I mean, not that the Chinese don't already have all my records. Say they saw my phone records and went, this guy again? Like, geez, quit stealing his stuff. But the U.S. government said last week that major telecoms have been able to kick the Chinese off their networks, and that they had been specific notifications to specific targets whose calls were listened to and accessed. But the rest of the plebs, sorry, citizens, well, what are you going to do? To be fair, they said the unimportant amongst us did not have their calls listened to, most likely, so notifications were not being sent. Besides, do you really need another year of identity management protection for the latest breach? Probably not. Notifications are not necessarily required with U.S. law, but some senators have been saying people should be notified when their data is stolen by, 12-year-old kids in New Jersey or other, enemy nation states. I mean, I just pretty much assume everything that I have has been breached at this point and shower with the blinds up. I mean, that guy on the other side of Amsterdam Avenue never saw anything like that before. Right. Yeah, sure. You bet. I think we should just assume that the Chinese and the Russians and the Iranians and, well, I don't know, AT&T has everything. And I can go back to sunbathing naked on the roof. I mean, that's nudity should be like everywhere. Like, let's just get over ourselves. But anyway, don't expect a notification, but you probably got breached. A lot, more than once. Anyway, that's the news on Friday the 13th. Thank you, Josh. And we will see you next time on this Security Weekly News. I will next be live at the Millennium Alliance event in Dallas, Texas on the 27th and 28th and 29th of January. I hope I see you there too. It's free. Maybe you should drop by. I mean, go register if they still have any spots. They sell out, but buy me dinner. That's free too. Or cigars, not free. Or alcohol, also free. Or all of those things would be good. Bye.